So we're here at a Nebraska Mesonet weather station. That's the environmental monitoring network that's run out of the State Climate Office. And this happens to be our research and development site. And we have a tall tower here, and we measure things like air temperature, relative humidity, wind speed and direction, rainfall, liquid precipitation, soil temperature at the 4-inch depth under bare soil, and then soil moisture at 5 depths under grass cover, and barometric pressure. So all those variables we measure in this network, and we have about 70 stations throughout the state of Nebraska.
Among the 70 Mesonet stations, there are 4 stations in Lincoln, 1 in Plattsmouth, and 3 near Meade at the UNL Ag Research and Development site. Mesonet stations have been around since 1981 and were originally designed for agriculture, but now they also serve as an environmental mentoring program. As Martha mentioned, these stations are equipped to observe hourly conditions of variables such as air temperature, humidity, liquid precipitation, wind speed and direction, solar radiation, barometric pressure, soil temperature, and soil moisture. To understand how these stations collect all of this data, we further asked Martha to explain how each piece of equipment on or near the station's tower works.
So in the Gill Shield there, we have air temperature and humidity probe. And so a few feet above the ground, we're measuring what the temperature is and what the relative humidity is. We have wind speed and direction, and on this particular tower, it's measured at 2 different heights. And so we're actually, we implemented new wind sensors across the network that are less vulnerable to icing over during the winter time. So we went to a more robust model. And so we're comparing that to the old one to see what sort of difference do we get. So that's why you see 2 on this one. So we measure wind speed and direction at 10 feet and then at 30 feet. And this is one of the towers that we have. On our other stations, we have a tripod configuration. So we only measure wind speed at 1 particular height. And we have 3 of these towers across our whole network. And we like to eventually go to more towers so that we can look at things like temperature inversions, and that would bring utility to spray applications and spray drift and those kinds of things. We have a bare soil box that measures the soil temperature at the 4-inch depth, which is a really popular observation in the springtime when it comes to those warming soils and what the temperature is. We have our precipitation gauge, which is a little tipping bucket mechanism in there, and we're actually testing a new kind of precipitation gauge, and so we're running those side by side out here. And we have barometric pressure, which is something that you can't visibly see so easily, but that measures, are we in a high pressure or low pressure, and how fast is the pressure changing over time. We also look at how much sunlight there is, and so we have a little sensor that measures incoming solar radiation. So how much sunlight are we receiving at the surface? And so that's kind of an overview of what we observe across the network.
The Mesonet stations are supported by the state of Nebraska in collaboration with the Department of Natural Resources and the Institute of Agriculture and Natural Resources at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. In addition, there are many agencies and individuals who have contributed to network operations through service agreements for specific stations. As always, all of the data these Mesonet stations provide can be found on the Nebraska State Climate Office website. On the website, there is a map of Nebraska that shows where all of the stations are located.
So all the information can be found online in real time, so you can look at the latest hourly observations all across Nebraska at mesonet.unl.edu. And you can also look at yesterday's rainfall, how much rain did we get across the state, what are the growing degree days to date, what's the evapotranspiration estimates, maximum wind gust, things like that.